Well, I apologize about that. But here I am. Faith says, hey, and Austin Brantley says, Cyael, I get scared when I hear your voice sometimes. Is that right? What's so scary about my voice, Austin Brantley? I hope that you guys have had an interesting day, and that everything's made a lot of sense. I'm going to be continuing my playthrough of Abzu. Which I utterly enjoy the aesthetic of. Can't get enough of it. Faith says right when I get started on my work too. Don't let me interfere with the work you need to get started on. Hopefully I can be a background noise while you do that. Candy Stripe says, it me. I'm in the next room. That's true. Stripes is in the next room. And am I loud enough, Stripes? Am I going over the audio of the game nicely? Armando Colazo says, hey Cyael. Hello Armando. Welcome to what's shaping up to be the 10th Confession podcast. Jumping back into Abzu, which is a game where I just swim around a bit. I enjoy that. Tonight on the Confession podcast, we're going to be talking about fears, phobias, and things that just scare us. They can be obvious, they can be unconventional, but most importantly, they should be true to ourselves. Sarah Lee says, peace emoji. And Candy Stripe says, yup, sound good. Or good sound. And that's what I'm talking about. I happen to actually know one of everyone's fears. But I don't want to get too dark, if you guys know what I mean. And it's not even an obvious fear either. But in the same way, it kind of is an obvious fear. Sarah Lee says, my left armpit stinks. Poignant information from your friendly neighborhood. Sarah. Naturally, a declaration like that makes you curious. Why one armpit and not the other? Armando Colazo says, I got a really good job offer. 60,000 plus bonuses. Gonna donate to the Cyael Foundation when I start. My fear is not giving you enough, Cyael. You have no reason to fear that. Your presence here alone is a gift in itself, Armando. And if we may as well just dive into fears, I can go ahead and provide one of the fears that I mentioned I know everyone has, whether you're aware of it or not. One of the things that you're scared of is not making people who are relevant to you aware of how relevant they are to you before that window closes, whether it be death, whether it be separation, whether life just takes a turn where you don't get the opportunity to be as open or articulate in a way where you can communicate with other people what's up. Which is why, Armando, I was letting you know that you are relevant. Because it's funny, we should all think about things like if we were to die today, how many people would show up at our funeral and sing songs, bring flowers? But how many people have let us know on a daily basis what time it is? To coin a colloquialism, Lucifer said his dog got cancer. That's what you get for being Satan. Just kidding, a little Cyael joke to lighten the mood. I'm sorry your dog's got cancer, man. Cancer's that thing that bites everybody in the ass, in a capacity where it's just like, Jesus Christ, how many people have to die before someone hopefully finds a cure for this thing? And the fact that, like, the animals aren't safe is really just a kick in the pants. Lucifer Sandwich goes on to say, no one is relevant if you think about it. Not in the big picture, but we have relevance to one another and to ourselves. And considering when we look at things on too grand a scale, it's hard to get lost, and it's difficult to find meaning or significance. It's important for us to zoom in and look at things on a smaller scale. Look at things in terms of what we can change, and more importantly, what we can enhance. Austin Brantley says, Cyael, I'm afraid of responsibility since I got that bitch pregnant. Dude, as a man, it really doesn't get any scarier than that, man. But this is the way of the world. And to be honest, every man takes that chance when he sticks his dick in anything. But you got to man up at this point and just deal with what comes. If it's a fear of you not feeling that you're ready, no one's really ready to bring up another human. The only thing that you're equipped to do is a better job than the job that was done on you, because you should know better than anyone the negative side effects that whatever specific style had on you, you should want to keep away from what you're bringing up. So try to see the glass as half full. Well, Lucifer says, can you say Santa sucks dick? Your name's not Santa, Lucifer. Candy Stripes goes on to say, except when he sticks his dick in another man. What is even going on? Hannah arrives, the beautiful Hannah. Please don't say that about Santana. They weren't talking about Santana. Oh my god. He did say that about Santana. Why would he mention Santana? Did I miss a comment? I apologize if I did. Lucifer, you don't know Santana, and you're talking to Hannah who's got a wrench. So watch your mouth, or you know what'll end up happening. Faith F says, what did Santana do to you? Nothing as usual. Oh, it's not the same Santana. Okay, brilliant. You guys are crazy. You guys know different Santanas, and I thought you were like attacking one Santana. It's a whale shark. It's beautiful. Come to me, whale sharkudu. I sincerely hope my volume is still over that of the game, and if I need to be turned up a little bit, let me know. All Hail TMG says, did he give you a black magic woman? What does that mean? Zips Z Stream says, spiders scare me. Arachnophobia, I would imagine, is perhaps one of the most common phobias of any. I do not remember how to grab onto stuff. Remembering that might get me a long way. And now, I'm part of the whale sharky. Lucifer Sandwich says, I would never. And Sean arrives. Hello, Sean Watson. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Austin says he got someone pregnant. So when it comes to shit to be afraid of, no one's got him beat tonight, I can tell you that. No one's gonna beat Austin. Armando Colazo says, anyone else have a fear of the ocean? Well, the other night, Sarah De Vera was saying how she had an incident when she was younger. And long story short, she couldn't even look at the screen when it came to being underwater because of that incident. Lucifer says, what game is this? It's called Abzu. And Sarah Lee says, I'm getting so mad because this keeps freezing on me. I can't imagine why. I'm sorry to hear it. All Hail TMG says, this is stupid. But when I was about 8, I was horrified of Cousin It from the Addams Family. Nothing scary about that. Or stupid, I should say. Everybody has their own, fears, their own things that they're frightened of, that they're scared of. And you always hear the phrase, fear of the unknown, and that's what Cousin It was. Cousin It was cloaked. He was hidden. If a person could wear a mask on their whole body, that's what Cousin It was doing. So you didn't know what he was or what was going on beneath it. And the Addams Family, of course, was a whole show about being a little bit weird, a little bit jarring. And there's nothing wrong with that. Hey guys, follow me. We're gonna have a fishy party. Fishy party. Hello, sunfish. What are you doing? Sunfishing out? Just Tokyo drifting? That's cool. I agree with that. You live your life, sunfish. The elaboration on the fear of the ocean goes into saying that there's a fear of what's down there, the unknown again. So much undiscovered shit. And it's true. Things in the ocean are probably like insane. We occasionally see a couple of the things that live below where the sun can reach. And that is particularly interesting to me. Sean Watson says, I hate not knowing what's under me in the open water. That's why I prefer pools to oceans, man. I don't have time for that. Anything could be out there. And I'm not living that life. All Hail TMG says, I remember having nightmares where I'd be standing at the end of the hallway and Cousin It is just barreling down the hallway directly at me. Nothing creepier than a hallway dream, man. Because it's like they got nowhere else to go. What is this on the ground here? It's like water and I'm underwater. Interesting indeed. So welcome once again everyone to the 10th Confession Podcast. Today we're talking about fears, phobias, things you're scared of, whether literal, physical, mental. And as I mentioned before, I know some things that all of us are scared of. But I don't want to particularly get into them yet because of how existential it might make things. Are we in 60 frames per second? We might just be. And that's nice. Faith says she broke a nail. That sucks, sweetie. I'm sorry. Don't be sad, though. These things can be repaired. What are these guys? Lucifer Sandwich says, I have a fear of never being remembered or making an impact. It's super easy to be remembered and make an impact. Find someone, and help them. You have no guarantee that what you do will ever be lasting, but your legacy will always be how you were to those in need. And a good rule of thumb is just to be the way to others that you wish they'd be to you. Don't be a jerk. Don't steal. Don't break things that don't belong to you. Don't seek to harm. Don't project your misery onto others. Try your best to protect them from that misery. Somebody's mentioning their love of Junji Ito. It's funny that you should mention the art that I've used for this stream, because he's particularly what creeps me out. I remember at a young age coming across his work and just being immediately visually enticed. And to get through his works, it was just an exhilarating experience like nothing I'd ever, I want to say, tasted before. Really whet my appetite for what more there could be. Interesting. Lucifer says he's going to help everyone. And that's what I'd like to hear. You're coming steps closer to being chosen every day. Sarah Lee says, I have a fear that Cyael will make me cry again. Sarah, the term again implies that I've made you cry before, girl. And you already know. That's not what I'm about. Speaking of getting ladies pregnant, I could see if that were true if I did make Sarah pregnant, but she had her own people for that. Candy Stripes goes on to say, I can't comfortably lay down with the headphones and draw, so I'm just going to listen to you through the door. Don't, Stripes. Do it with the headset. And stop trying to lay down while you're drawing. So lazy. I would suggest moving the laptop closer to you so that you could sit with your back against the bed head, but the cord won't reach, so who knows where we'll go from that. Sean Watson says, did you read that dream I wrote and sent to your Reddit? Dude, I have not checked my Reddit too well, because honestly the last time I was on Reddit, like, pretty much everything that I posted got deleted, so I was just like, who's in the mood for any of this shit? And I just kind of just gave up for a little bit. Okay, now this is where things get interesting. This is looking like those doors that I've encountered before this portion. And that person that you're seeing right there looks almost exactly like me, except with something on his chest. Interesting indeed. Maybe that ball is what I use in that psychedelic little area. But Sean, I will get down to reading whatever that is. All Hail TMG says, another fear I have was when I was little, my dad had this painting that his ex-wife, not my mom, of a demonic looking ram. It says a year later, but you got cut off, so try to replace what you just said. You know what I mean? Sarah Bishop says, cry, you have made me cry twice now, damn it. Well, Sarah Bishop, hopefully they were tears of joy. Hopefully maybe you were looking at like a song video I did, and like you just couldn't believe how musical and lyrical the music was. Lucifer says, well, I'm going. Have a nice stream. Thank you, Lucifer. All Hail says, apologies for missing words. No problem. Candy says they're back on. I'm not even sure what you're talking about, Candy. Candy, candy, yummy. Sweet tea, sweet tea. Girls love chewing, 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 chewing. Speaking of Junti, man, I really just lost myself in the lyrics of a Kyaru Pamya Pamya song. But forgive me. What is this? What is this? What is this? This one's a weird one, and it's eating other things. Why are you eating stuff? What are you? A coil santh. Or its eyes glowing. That ain't normal. Your eyes are glowing, mate. Let's go ahead and take the time to meditate. Yeah. Sean says, I listen to a lot of Let's Not Meet stories, and every day I'm terrified my wife will be raped or assaulted when I'm not there. Hey, man. Love you, Sean Watson. But if anybody gets stuff inside them, it's usually consensual, you know what I mean? Not saying your wife's gonna cheat or anything, cheers. Just saying. No worries. Candy says, oh wait, did Sean send you the box from today? I doubt it. It was I got like an isolation shield that I can use with a microphone to just kind of I want to say silence a bit of the background noise, or more importantly, what my voice will bounce off of when it goes behind the microphone. So it'll sound less echoey and, you know, a little more professional. But where I'm currently recording, I'd have to situate a lot of things a bit to even take advantage of that. But again, it's a fantastic gift, and I think it was about $70, so whoever bought it, like, really did me a favor. Sean says he bought me undies, which are probably in my mailbox, and I need to go check that out, and I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. That's what I'm all about. That is what I'm talking about. Okay. Sorry, eels gross me out. They really do. Eels gross me out in real life is what I'm saying. Not like, you know, I have a fear of them or anything, but they genuinely do. Okay, look. Sorry, I keep getting lost. Once more, I welcome you all to the 10th Confession Podcast today, where we're talking about fears, phobias, and things that you're scared of. To quickly reiterate what I was trying to say initially, the little, you know, art for the live stream is from an artist known as Junji Ito, who does visual, like, you know, horror in comics very, very well. And I keep considering reading one of his short stories for the channel because it's legit creepy and I want to share that. But it's not mine, so it's like, but everybody else is doing it, so it's like, and I'm not gonna make money off of it, so I'm like, you know what I mean? All hail TMG says, a story that always scared me is one of my grandmother told me about a neighbor's daughter being killed by two men and dumped behind the house. Oh my god. Interesting. Kyle Willard says that his fear is of public speaking. I have faith that you can conquer that. And if you talk to yourself enough, maybe you will be able to even faster. Leo Minati says deep, murky, or dark water freaks me out. Deep, clear water doesn't, though. Well, again, it seems that the main thing that people have is a fear of the unknown, and it is in itself a logical fear, because you're right to be cautious and speculative of what you're not aware of. What you can't see is something to be suspicious of. Armando Colazo says, I'm going to take a nap. You take it easy, Armando. Faith says, I finally took all of the fake nails off, and it feels so good. I like Faith natural, so I bet her fingers are cool. It seems that there was some sort of thing on the wall, and it fell off. But considering how well preserved the rest of this stupid-ass chamber was, it's pretty impressive that this, you know, so vigorously, like, in ill repair. It's almost as if this kind of thing forcibly occurred. And then there's just some sort of cave-in right there that, like, jam-pack fills in everything. I don't believe it. Alexis B says, I'm afraid of heights and underwater statues. Heights I understand, fear of dropping, but why statues underwater in particular? Do you think they'll come to life? Candy says, I find that I'm more attracted to women. Oh God. It got pushed off. Forgive me, Stripes. Skelly says, ever since somebody broke into my house with an axe when I was 10, I've always been unnaturally uncomfortable around unprotected windows. Well, a rational fear. Sarah Lee says, my sister has a Doberman. I was just chilling with him. His name is Kimbo. A bit ago while I painted the mural. Okay. Kyle Willard says, oh, fuck me, this is really getting pushed off. Sean Watson says, whenever I hear wind blowing leaves on the ground behind me, my heart skips a beat, thinking it's a dog running up on me. Then I facepalm hard. Wait, I don't even know what you guys are agreeing to as creepy anymore. So, yeah. So, to me, potentially doing this Junji Ito work, I think it'll be a creepy experience for everybody. But as it pertains to some of the fears that I know everybody's having, again, not sure I should even share. Some of the people that were here in the last 2 confession podcasts admitted to some things that I felt like they might be better suited to tonight's topic. Leo Minotti says there's a subreddit for stuff like statues and other things underwater. It's called Submergephobia. Sarah says, oh, I had a sonogram yesterday, and although I'm only 13 weeks, I was told it's a boy. That's 3 boys. Well, I'm sure your man is going to be pleased because that is what they want. You know, they want an heir to that throne, not some kind of flimsy, whimsy female. I'm kidding. Kyle Willard says, a guy kicked my door in, just hidden my house for who knows how long, so I check every little noise in my house with my gun. A precaution that is logical. Kyle Willard says, I also bought a gun because of the break-in. Hannah says, yay, congrats on not a girl, Sarah. I love that Hannah and I feel the same way. Oh, Hannah. I wonder what Stripes is drawing. She was complaining about not being able to be comfortable as she was laying down. Maybe she's working on commissions. Sarah says, thank you, Hannah. Super relieved. So even the mom's relieved that it's not a girl. I wonder why, Sarah. I mean, I don't want a girl child for the obvious reasons. But I feel like there's nuanced reasons that Sarah should go into. I'm Sean Connery. Emery Williams says, another fear I have is that I will waste my youth and that my life won't go anywhere. Where your life goes isn't something that you should be under the impression anybody is setting the bar for other than you, Emrys. You should always remember that if where you want to go is where you end up, then you've made it. Because by anybody else's standards, if they've chosen where you should end up and you're not there, then you haven't gone anywhere to them. Chairplay says, I love your voice. I love the way you play chairs, Chairplays. Thank you. Candy Stripe says, I'm making sick money. Hey, shut the hell up. You in here, alright? Like, oh my god. I guess she's not wrong. Cyael Willard says, I have a fear of being near anyone while walking at night, because I think someone might randomly attack me. Again, not exactly an illogical fear. People just attack when, you know, when they feel the opportunity would be ripe. Let me proceed here. I've been dicking around in this one area in the game. It's because I've kind of been enjoying the music at the same time. Cyael Willard says, anytime I walk anywhere, I carry pepper spray on my sleeve. A sensible precaution. I'm glad you guys are so safe. I have to admit that I'm probably not sad for whoever would fuck with you in an event that they're testing to see how prepared for the scenario you are. What unfortunately I'm becoming aware of is that what led you to this conclusion, or what led you to this state of preparation for whatever may happen to you, is probably an encounter or an experience that was less than ideal. And I apologize for whatever you may have had to go through to kind of reach this point where it's not going to happen again the same way. But in that same way, I'm glad that you learned a lesson that will help you better deal with it in the future. Because it's better than not learning a lesson. Or learning a lesson the hard way. And as we know, just like a kid getting hit by a car, some lessons you really can't afford to learn the hard way. Sarah says, I don't want a girl because I had 2 sisters and all we did was fist fight, break each other's shit, and spend a lot of money. I was a parent's nightmare. Well, that's what you girls do, is break shit, you know? That's cool. I mean, I get it. You're emotional. Is that a goddamn whale? That is what I'm talking about. No one in your heart says hi, Cyael. Hello, no one in your heart. And a baby whale. Oh, it's got the tricks. Let's go, whale. Sarah Lee says little boys are so much easier and much more snuggly than shitty little bratty girls. Cyael Willard says, yeah, a guy jumped at me and held a switchblade to my chest and took everything I ever had. Well, I apologize, but at the same time I'm pleased that he didn't take what matters most, which is your life. And with that life, you'll be able to sow more of what makes you so special into other people's lives. And like I tried to articulate to Hannah earlier, the ripples of your well-meaning... Sorry, this is insane. The ripples of your well-meaning actions will reach people even after you're gone. It's better when something terrible happens and you actually feel like you've something to learn from it. Something that you could have done better, something that you could have prepared better to encounter this situation. Because there are scenarios where things go sideways and you think to yourself, there ain't shit that I could have done better. There ain't shit I could have done to prepare myself for this. I've shared a story before about 3 guys trying to jump me and me fucking 2 of them up before all 3 of them ran off. And every time I think about that scenario, the only thing I could have done differently is just somehow not been out at that point. It wasn't my fault the way things went the way they did. This isn't good. When I hear rapid beeping, it implies that that was probably going to explode. And that's not cool. Let me fucking take a seat on this damn rock. And we'll have ourselves a quick little talk. As I was trying to outline. Yeah, when you're not learning anything, it kind of fucking sucks. Well, maybe that's a fear that most people share as well. Is being powerless in the face of some of the shit that happens around us. I mean, power itself is an illusion. Control itself is an illusion. You could have all the money in the world. You can't really make people do what they don't want to do. Can't decide how people feel or what they're about. But sometimes having that perspective is what's really going to give you that upper hand. Creative Mer says, confession. A lot of things scare me. I have a social phobia. Scared of coat hangers, heights, stairs, the ground I walk on, water, coffee. You know, sweetie, I'll believe a lot of shit. But coat hangers and coffee? Come on now. What the hell is so scary about coffee? And when you say water, part of me wants to think, okay, you're scared of being submerged / drowning. But coffee? Is it the heat? Are you scared of potentially being like having hot coffee splashed upon you? Gonna need you to elaborate. Coat hangers? You know what I mean? Used as a weapon or just in general? You opening up like closets and screaming? Are you going to a Starbucks and just ending up on the floor in a fetal position? We need answers. Candy Stripe says, love that can be bought is not worth having, Burrs. I love that it's always about love with Stripes. Who brought up love? Stripes is so lovey-dovey. Look, it's all about love. Love. She's probably like singing right now. I just started floating up involuntarily. That was interesting. I should probably proceed in whatever direction it makes sense that I head. But these fucking floating mines are everywhere. The less I encounter, the better. All Hail TMG says, I've heard coat hanger phobias before, but they're usually associated with parental physical abuse. I mean, I get it. I get that it can be triggering. My point is, you know, it's not like your parents are around to whoop your ass. It's not like other people would be using them as a weapon in the same capacity that, you fear the person, not the tool, you know? I'm never really going to be scared of a gun. I'm going to be scared of the gun in the wrong hands. Not going to be scared of knives and shit like this. Oh my bing bong. It's guarding whatever's over. Shit. I want to get to where that is. But it would appear that there's only really one way to get there. And some of these little bomb things are submerged. Look at all of these weirdo things. These things are weird. Whatever that is, I want to get over there. And I want to get over there bad. I think Stripes just said somebody's a married man with wide and kids. How scary is it, the idea that maybe you just had a wife, but now you got a wide? Alright, so it looks like I made it in here with limited difficulty, so to speak. Let's go ahead and see what this is. Whoever just said something about a better paying job, it got pushed off really fast, and I would love for you to re-establish what you said, and I apologize. People are saying night. Oh, man. Jessica says, this game is my fear, coming full circle right here. I'm sorry, sweetie. I know that for a lot of people, you know, being underwater is a big phobia, but I think it's the drowning itself, and I wish there were a way to effectively detach, excuse me, you know, the fear of drowning from the water itself. But again, it's logical. The water is what causes it. So I understand where you're coming. And I understand why. Oh my god, it's just a fucking minefield in this direction. What am I really supposed to do? Swim by these shits? This is madness. Anyway. The White Wolf is here. Another, hearty welcome to everyone here for the 10th Confession podcast. Today we're talking about fears, phobias, things that scare you, whether they're physical, tangible, you know, something you can touch, corporeal or not, just shit that stays with you in a capacity. For a quick example, Jesus, crim shibble wibble dobbles. Get out of there, get out. Oh my god. It's crazy how noises alone can just scare the hell out of me, because that scared me just now, the way they were all like, oh, no, we don't like to be close. Kyle says, I'm getting a better paying job next week and trying not to spend it all on weed. So what do you want from your wish list under 30? Oh man, I can't even say. That would be so sweet of you. But wow, I opened a door for a shark apparently, like he's been waiting there his whole life just to slip through. But yeah, no, nothing on my wish list comes to mind. Probably the shaver that is on there. Is there anything on there? Probably that shaver. I don't know, man. Again, you don't feel obligated. Knowing that you're happy is more of something that I'd like to guarantee. So if weed's gonna do that for you, man, then buy the weed. You know what I'm talking about? Aslexuki says, that sounds awesome. What did you do to get such an offer? Yeah, proud of you in being able to qualify. Jesus Christ, what is with all these? Jesus Christ, chill. When did the game get all balmy? So it's supposed to be some sort of I'm having a good time swimming underwater simulator. And now it's like the validation of everybody's. Look at the shark over. Oh, he's getting electrocuted. Shark got what was coming to him, rushing into doors that I was opening over there. What a world. Stripe says, I just want to sit in a room and draw and never have to look at another person's face. Well, that's the dream. And soon we'll be able to realize that kind of dream. If it's what, you know, you want. Just put your shit together. Get it all together. Believe in yourself. I feel like it's going to be some kind of me getting a thorn out of a lion's paw here. But what's this shark going to do for me? He doesn't have the brain to process the kind of monkey balls. I should just swim clean by this asshole. This dude's strong. Are you kidding me? Is he going to look back and go, thank you. I am Sharkman. And I am grateful for your actions. For I am not just testosterone incarnate. Get fucking real. It's a shark. It is a shark. The White Wolf says, I can relate to noises. Noises I can't identify unnerve me. Unnerve me. When I don't know where it's coming from. Sean says, I'm joining the Navy in about a month. I won't be tuning into Cyael channel until after boot camp. I'm really sad. Damn, Sean. I wish you the best and hope that, and you gracefully, transition through boot camp. You know what I'm talking about? Sean Watson goes on to say, at least I'll have a bunch of videos to catch up on. That will be awesome. Yep, I'll be churning stuff out at my earliest convenience. You know, an environment in which to make some actual noise is my biggest issue. Creative Mer says, Stripes can't wait to see my commission. Oh wait, Creative commissioned Stripes to do something? Interesting. Leo Minati says, I'm pretty sure that's the shark from Finding Nemo. Okay. Well, another welcome to tonight's Confession podcast. We're talking about fears. If you've seen the art for tonight's stream, then allow me to illuminate you in case you're not aware. That is the artwork of a illustrator by the name of Junji Ito. He's one of my favorite manga illustrators, and I'm considering sharing one of his short stories on the channel and doing a bit of voiceover when I receive the opportunity. I think it will be something we can all enjoy together. Jessica Lesa says, so I really like listening to true crime podcasts, watching documentaries and shows on murders and serial killers, but I'm terrified of scary movies. What do you mean, like modern scary movies that are essentially just jump scares and like a poorly written plot, fucking revolving around uncharismatic assholes? Is that a damn giant squid down there? This is getting real. This is getting real. This is creepy now. Like, the deeper we go, this is legit creepy. This is real creepy. Alright. Well, the game lets you touch anything, so let's latch right on. Look at its little googly eyes. It's a kraken, it says. No, wait, it's not. It's a giant squid, but the achievement's name is Kraken. How amusing. Well, Sean says he'll be back from his Navy, let's just call it an outing, like he's popping out to summer camp. And All Hail TMG says, I used to get freaked out by old blues songs that had to do with death or murder. Was it Jessica saying that she enjoys murder porn but doesn't like scary movies? Scary movies got a lot of jump scares going on. It's pretty lame. To be honest, I'm the type of person who's I want to say a little more bothered by genuine serial killers. Some big ass whales. Because of the the realization that people like that are out there, people like that are on the prowl right now, and that there's really nothing stopping you from coming across some of those people, and that many of them are, if you believe what the documentaries would have you believe, some of the most charismatic people on the planet. And how else could you convince tons of people to do what you would assume is something that they don't want to do? But how could most of them know what's up until it's too late? It's almost like being a woman, you know? You can get a lot of guys to go along with your bullcrap, even if it's against their inclinations. Because they're not thinking with their brain, so to speak. Nightbot says, Jessica Laso, you are the missing link. Goodbye. Wait, what the hell? That's the first time that the Nightbot has said anything. I forgot that the Nightbot arrives here. Stripes, look, it's the Nightbot. I can show you clean lines, but no one has paid for just line art. Wait, are people commissioning Stripes? That's amusing. What's that over there? Let's go figure it out. All Hail TMG says, I can't remember who wrote them, but there was a guy who wrote some of those songs about the actual murders he committed. Well, it doesn't get any more inspired than that. I should write a song called No One Understands Me. It can just be really edgy, all about suicide and how I'm totally gonna commit it, cutting and how I can't stop, and how everything scares me, but not in like a I'm actually scared way, but in like a it makes me feel like I'm gonna do stuff sort of way, and one day I'm just gonna lose control. I'm not gonna be able to. I wish these wounds would heal. Ow. White Wolf says, this is kind of stupid, but there's Japanese urban legends. Well, of course there are. There's urban legends in Just about every culture. Why would you assume otherwise? Oh no. Oh, there's a Japanese that you probably meant to go on. Yeah, so complete your thought, and we'll see where you're going with that. I'd really like for you guys to send me some spooky crap to do some reads on. I was reading this thing about a mannequin the other day, and I was like, this has the capacity to get creepy. You know? But it didn't get there. This is kind of stupid. There's either a Korean or Japanese urban legend saying if anyone hears the story, they get killed by said ghost. Oh, cool. It's like an urban legend with the chain letter vibe that we saw in the early 2000s on the internet. Come on now. Faith F says, Cyael, you should read The Enigma of the Amigata Fault by Junji. That one's so silly at the end, I wouldn't be able to do it justice. Durr, you know what I mean? Also, Lexuki says, and if you read it. White Wolf says, and I know it's just a scary story, but when I heard it a couple years back, I couldn't listen to it. Well, there's nothing wrong with going for a ride. It's part of the fun. Sometimes suspending disbelief is what we're all about. But it sounds like in your case, you just genuinely believed it. And that's what's up. Again, guys, these are what I would consider almost fun types of fears, you know? There's more existential fears, like the one with the guy who got somebody pregnant earlier, feeling like maybe he's never going to be able to have a life even close to what he wanted. But he doesn't need to regard what's happened to him as the end. Creative Mer says, Wolfos, what about the smiling nurse? Oh, you guys are just keep talking about creepypastas now. Candy Stripe says, I'm afraid of slightly open doors. Why is that? Feel like someone's gonna jump through, Stripes? Do you feel like someone's peeking from the other side, asks Creative. I would imagine doors fall back under that umbrella of, like, unknown that people fear. I would love it if the squids were one of the animals I could, like, breach the surface with. But we're terribly deep at this point. Terribly deep. And I doubt that I could get that high. I'm pretty sure that whatever that is up there only exists for the sole purpose of shining a light down here. And if I tried swimming up, I would probably get cut off in some capacity. But we got time, so we're gonna see. All Hell TMG says, I get freaked out every now and again thinking about close calls where if I had slower reflexes, I would definitely be dead. Yeah, the game sent me back down. Well, yeah, man. To be honest, like I've said plenty of times before, our continuing existence is just the culmination of a whole bunch of, like, somehow miraculously won lotteries. How do we keep winning as it pertains to avoiding accidents and not having a heart attack, not being around people that could at any point just emotionally flip out and lie and get you put away, or just grab a knife and go crazy. You've been in the midst of people who have just lost their shit. What's to stop them from just grabbing a gun? Think about every time that you've ever been around somebody that's like just emotional to the point that it just don't make no fucking sense. Stupid emotional, can't control themselves, pointlessly wrong, pointlessly ignorant, you know what I mean? And they're gonna do things that don't make sense, and if they were to watch a recording of them doing these things later, they would be forced to agree that it doesn't make sense, even if they wanted to be stubborn about it. Just think about this. If they had a gun at their fingertips, it would probably be less of an outburst for them to just pull the trigger in your general direction. So what, are you lucky that they didn't have a gun in this instance? Life is like that, son. People do the craziest shit for no reason, and some people do things just because they can, and you're lucky that you ultimately an extra and some other people's lives who only consider themselves to be the real one living and everybody else is just like a person in there, a little extra in their production. This thing is huge. This thing is huge and creepy. I like it. Kyle Willard says, LOL, they named him Thomas Brady. Fucking sports nerd. Can't believe that's so ridiculous. All Hail says, there was this one time where a car barely missed me. I'm talking inches. And I remember I couldn't breathe for a goddamn minute. Well, you're still here. God damn it. Why am I following a shark? Madness. Welcome once again to the 10th Confession Podcast. Tonight we're talking about fears, phobias, and just things you're generally scared of, whether they're quote-unquote real or not. A lot of people have a fear of being underwater, unfortunately. Most people fear the unknown. Some people fear how close they've come to death. Some people fear the things they cannot change. One thing that I have a sneaking suspicion that most people fear is that however low they've ever gotten may just be the tip of the iceberg. Even if it's something that they revisit, that could be the fear. Feeling as terrible as they've felt in the past again. Or worse, feeling even worse than they did before. Now, how might I get past that, I wonder? Camera angle's not really working with me right now, is it? I like this because it's such a stark contrast to what the whole rest of the game was about. Even I'm not the brilliant yellow color I was before. I'm bathed in this red. There's those drones. I'm not sure I like this portion. All Hail says, there was one time where a car no, I read that. What? Kyle Willard, whoa, fuck. Jesus. Kyle Willard says, I have a fear of canoes, now considering my last one sank while I was in the middle of a lake. I'm extremely sorry to hear that, but I hope that you're for the most part fine. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, with all these stupid ass landmines. All I know is I hope your fears don't keep you up at night, guys. And I hope that there's something that in time you'll be able to establish a firm foothold over. What the hell? White Wolf says, I'm not much scared of horror films or games, but one thing that gets me is silence and the tension when you're alone, but feel like something may be there, I assume is the completion of that, because it got cut off. Kyle Willard says, I have a massive fear of merging on the highway. Everyone is going 70 plus miles per hour, or kilometers, and if one person fucks up, we're all dead. It happens every day, bro. Happens every day. It's something that we, I guess, put out of our minds, but think about that, man. Every day somebody is fucking up on the highway, and it's usually not even their life that gets fucked, it's everybody else. What the hell is this? Faith says she's afraid of forgetting to lock the doors. These are kind of cute. But at the same time, very rational fear. A lot of people break in when the doors are just open. Like the amount of people that actually, Jesus Christ. The amount of people that go around checking people's front doors or checking their car doors to see if they're open would blow your mind. Jesus Christ. Is this all inside this massive construct that I saw? This is crazy, dude. This is crazy. Chris Pyle says, what scares me is how inconsequential everything is. The universe is so big that nothing we can possibly do matters in the grand scheme of things. It's a very nihilistic way to look at things. You can't look so large a scale, you know. You got to bring it down in terms of things that you can change. And you do have an impact, even if it's huge, you know, or small in your instance, by your scale. But you got to think of it like this. When you look down at the ants, they're busy doing what they do. And maybe their contribution to our world is super minute, but maybe they're not so much focused about their contribution to our world. And yeah, you can think of it as them not being aware of their puzzle piece as it fits into our puzzle, but at the same time, Jesus. But at the same time, if the ants could be aware, Jesus, should they be overly focused on I didn't know that this could happen to me. I've just been so close to them before, I assumed that if it were going to happen, that I could have just flown over them the whole fucking time. I'm really displeased about that. And it'd been so long since something had actually happened that what a world. Is there another one? There's a smaller one inside. It's the shark. What? Oh. I'm a bot of some sort. All hail TMG says at a certain point, the largest thing on the scale is microscopic to something else. It's true. It's funny. Before a certain point in time, the argument could be made that certain things that we can't see don't exist, you know what I mean? But just because we need special ways to see certain things doesn't mean that they're not out there. And before a microscope, all things that were microscopic would not be visible to our naked eye, as we call it. But what if we existed in a capacity that that was somewhat invisible to something else, maybe something bigger? Would us being aware of this thing, you know, make our lives any less or more relevant? I like to think of it like this. Let's put it in terms of politics. A lot of people aren't pleased with the state of things in the country in which they're living, but they're forced to continue and go about their daily lives because, in your words, what can you do about it? And it's true to a certain capacity. What can you do about it? We're just people on a planet with a rock orbiting that planet, and the planet itself orbits a star. You know, we as a society of people have decided that based on whether or not our rock is facing our star, we're gonna go to sleep, we're gonna get up, you know, we're gonna live our lives, we're gonna sleep, we're gonna eat, we're gonna wake up, we're gonna form these dumbass relationships with other people according to whatever stupid ass rituals they're used to. Where we're born factors into it. Who we're next to factors into it geographically. It's just so monotonous and corny. You know what I mean? When you're seeking purpose in the capacity that's still formed by the society in which you're unfortunately a part of, like, you can't even imagine the puzzle piece as it pertains to the puzzle. You can't imagine the form or the shape. And again, you could waste your time trying to figure that out, or you could start where things make sense and are familiar. And this may be a hilarious analogy, but I'm playing a game like a shooter. I pick a landmark. This is something that's helpful with people learning how to get from place to place as far as directions are concerned. You pick something that's big, noticeable, and that you can remember, and you work outward from there. So as it pertains to this, you should work with what you know and work outward from there. Because the idea that you really can't have an impact on a big scale may seem logical, but to be honest, you have no idea of knowing that you can't so, in a way of speaking, like, contradict that logic. What if you could have that huge an impact? But the first step was overcoming the idea that you couldn't. Now again, I'm not trying to be all crazy and, fill you with all kinds of, nah, you can fly, baby. Just get up on that roof, you can fly. First step in flying is believing that you can fly, man. That's just what they taught you, they tricked you. It's the shark. And I'm some sort of robot, which I'm not about either. What's that all about? That sucks. Cyael says, I have a fear of hunting in the woods alone because I always come across random sets of stairs. Okay, Cyael. Faith says, I'm afraid of being watched. A very valid fear, but you're gonna have to get used to it because that's just how the NSA and the CIA work, and they've been doing it for as long as you can imagine. And even when it's all declassified, they're just like, hey, who cares, How else are we going to stop threats to security on a national scale? Cyael says, but I did find a deer head on a stump, and then the carcass like 200 feet from it, which doesn't happen naturally in nature. Okay. Leo Minotti says, it really freaks me out how easily it is to find someone on the internet. If you know their name and the state they live in, you can find out a ton of things about them. Indeed you can. So what do you think the CIA and the NSA are capable of, baby? If there's a microphone in your house, then they're listening. They got all your history, and Facebook isn't even like joking about the fact that they're selling your personal and private information. So if some people are selling it, and people more, I want to say, capable, is this above the surface? Can you imagine if at one point I get out of the water? Nah, I got my flippy flops on. No way I could get out of the water. My flippy floopers. Faith says that she means in the way of stalking. I hope nobody stalks you, Faith. That would be gay. I've been stalked before. It's pretty interesting, though. I think as a guy, it's a hell of a lot different. Because when you're a girl and people stalk you, it's kind of effed. All Hail says, makes it worse when they're a villain on the internet and literally everything about them becomes public. And White Wolf says, I shouldn't have used my real name for my YouTube name then. Interesting, White Wolf. Interesting. The thing that a lot of you have not to fear about using your real name or whatever is that there are probably tons of other people with your name. So unless they knew the specifics of your monkey balls, it'd be pretty difficult for them to to source you specifically. Wonder where I should go. That's a dark cubby. That's a dark cubby. That's nowhere. That's nowhere. Am I really supposed to jump up and out? I would so be shocked if this is what I'm supposed to do. Suddenly I don't have flippy floppies. Mr. Turtle, I am shocked. I didn't think that this was anything but just like a swimming game. Be funny if it just turned into Zelda and somebody gave me a sword. Smash all these pots! Okay. Candy says, flip off the air each time you enter a new room in case your house is bugged. Flip off the air? What does she mean by that? Cyael says, I'm remarkably good at finding people I meet online in public. Wait, so are you an undercover stalker, Cyael? My first name is Cyael, but my last name isn't Willard. I just thought that sounded fancy as hell. Candy says, is the game over now? Can you imagine? I just stood up and now the game's over. I think the implication is that I'm supposed to dive off. So let's try to see how lacking I can be in grace in doing so. I want to try and back into it, as crazy as that sounds. Okay. Trying to do this least as little grace as possible, because I feel like even though I'm trying to lack grace, it's gonna dive into this straight dive animation. I don't want that. Nah, man. You see? I knew it was gonna do that. All Hail said this is the ultimate Olympic dive. Like I was gonna be like, alright, behold, I faced my back to the water. Damn. Where are the damn fish? You forgot what the hell's going on in the game, guys? Where the damn fish, guys? So naturally we have some sort of chain contraption. Stripe said, we love you, Aquaman. I'll never forget, I don't remember what game I was in where I was underwater and there was fish and I've kept going. We love you, Aquaman. That shit was hilarious to me. Yeah, no. So yeah, I apologize for streaming late today, guys, but not only was I waiting for the right time, but part of me was also wondering if I should try to do a list. But the list I saw wasn't exactly... What the hell is this? So I gotta find another chain. Yeah, but the list I found wasn't exactly, I don't know, up my alley. It was something about 10, like, things you could learn in 10 minutes. Ow. Oh, Stripe says I was playing inside. I hated the ending of that game. Also, Lexuki says, remember when Skype gave away your IP? That's pretty intense. I didn't know it did that. White Wolf says, is that shark with legs? statue. Let's see. Wasn't paying too much attention. But it might have been some sort of shark man, dude. Yeah, I guess it could be like a doggy shark. You know, a doggy with a shark head. Hey, what's this? You a shark? No, I didn't mean to grab... What is this? A Dolly Core Finishops. This looks so dinosauric, dude. Does this exist in the real world? What a lame breach. Okay, that was better. Oh, he's eating fish. Those ones are crazy. The ones that eat fish you cannot control. Okay, so I'm looking for a way to get into whatever chain room I need to access. Sharks with legs would be horrifying. It's so funny that you guys have organically arrived on that, because if you type in GYO into the internet, you'll come up with a comic by animator Junji Ito, the guy whose work I featured in the art, and he made an illustrated work called Gyo, where the sharks come up out of the water and have legs. I'm not even joking, so it's ridiculous that we arrived on that naturally. So I can't get into this thing, and the real question is, can I get in from above? Because it doesn't appear that I can. The game was kind enough to allow me to do that, even though I wasn't anywhere near it. So, thanks, game, for not making my life a bit of misery. Waifu Willie, you're late, bro. But it's nice of you to show up, baby. I hope you had an interesting day. Welcome to the 10th Confession Podcast. Kyle says he needs to get an IP tracker because this dipshit on PSN pisses me off so much. He has a YouTube channel called iFrame, and he lies about giving things away, I'm guessing. Just put this guy on blast on Reddit, if you're so down, bro. You know, that's what most people do. You should expose people for their lies. Some people tell lies and they don't even know it. Because they're so used to just saying whatever and getting away with it. You should expose this motherfucker. Glad your day's been chill. Damn, that's a big ass turtle. My man. What a big turtle. Oh my god. What's your name? Archelon. Archelon. This can't be currently existing. Anyway, sorry. Waifu Willie asks, how are you, Cyael? I'm alright. Yeah, just been playing through a bit more of Abzu. To be honest, I'm a bit shocked I'm not completely done. You know. It just seems to have more and more to give. I've discovered that I'm some sort of robot dude, and that's fine too. All Hail said something, but it got cut off. I think it was about him looking at somebody's YouTube streams. Kyle says the way the camera pans to the object reminds me of something in the prehistoric ocean. Wait, somebody, whoa. Somebody's saying that somebody is a schizophrenic who believes that they are God. Is this a person that streams? Because I need to know, man. That is what's up. The White Wolf says, one Junji Ito thing this reminds me of is the story about a giant, dead, nightmarish fish that just drifted to the shore. Man, I don't know anything about that, but it sounds horrifying, and that's what I'm all about. Tears of the Lily says, my fear of what scares me, well, cockroaches and them getting in my ears. Well, that's the place you really don't want anything. So many things in your ears would be bad news, man, and your ear really does not know how to deal with that either. What am I to do? But just dive right in there. Is that like the Loch Ness Monster over there? Loch Ness Monster! Kyle says, I had a fruit fly fly in my ear, and I had to put olive in my ear to drown it. Candy Stripe says, do you remember about the roach that got in someone's nose? Stripes, remember something got in your ear one time and you lost it? Remember that, Stripes? Stripes lost it. All hail TMG says, yeah, the guy thinks he's a god and he plays this racing game where he crashes into the wall with his volume to deafening volume. Is it called Burnout Paradise? I'm not even joking. At one point I saw like this huge creature down here and then it disappeared. Just like the real Loch Ness. Wait. Whoa, what is it? What is that thing? What the hell? Elasmosaur. These aren't like living today. Man. Cyael, if you're interested, the story was called The Thing That Drifted Ashore. No, that's what I'm talking about. All hail TMZ says, I think it's a motorcycle game. He never responds to chat, but you can hear his mic is on. You need to leave a comment on another video with the name of this streamer, because I'm super interested in this guy. For real. For real, though. Leo Minotti says, have you played Dark Souls or Bloodborne, Cyael? No, I have not. Alright. I feel like, yeah, of course, for you, maybe there would be a bit of enjoyment in watching me get a little frustrated. But the thing about Dark Souls that I don't really enjoy so much is that it's pretty much just about kind of like studying, you know? I don't play a lot of games to take a test. I like being tested on my feet for my capacity to like problem solve and, you know, respond to reflexes and shit like that. And a lot of that is present in Dark Souls, but with Dark Souls it's more about like learning the move set of the bosses and then seeing where your opening is and timing your shit and blah blah blah. So many things you gotta just like put a lot of time into learning, and I'm just like, whatever. Rebecca Ladeau says, hello, senpai. Hopefully we can play again, and I can prove to you that I don't actually suck. Women, listen. Sucking is not a bad thing. We encourage it, just not in certain ways. A waka waka. All Hail says, I need to find him. I wasn't subbed to him a while ago. He's got like 30 subs. Dude, it's gotta be an act, man. That's gotta be an act. For people who may have just joined. All Hail was talking about a guy he subscribed to that streams and believes he's a god and is schizophrenic, and that just sounds like a friggin' gold mine online, you know what I'm talking about? Not that I would be seeking him to exploit him in any way, but bing bong. Hey, it released other fishies. Hey, it's one of those shark things I'm supposed to sit on. Hey, you. I don't like your girlfriend. Hannah says he will always destroy you if you are on the other team. That's not true. I have the most adorable clip in the world of Hannah when she was on the other team and she was playing on Volskaya, and she's Mercy, and she comes in and she's like, don't hurt me. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do anything, but I threw down a trap and she stood in it, and then my teammates killed her, and it was so sad. It was just a sad thing. If I had a fear, it would be that would happen often. I don't want that for Hannah. Kyle says, Cyael, do you have any guy friends you would stream Overwatch with? Man. Nah, here's why. I don't know anybody who's good at Overwatch. Is that rude? You know? And I know it's like, it's reached a point where it's gotten pretty bad in an intimidating capacity because, you know, I wouldn't say I'm like the best as far as skill is concerned in Overwatch, but when you have 6 other people trying to, you know, demonstrate that they're capable, and I can literally wipe at least 5 of these assholes off the grid, that's your combined effort falling to shit. You know, even though I consider myself all about mayhem and misdirection and breaking through a defense, blah, 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 blah. If I can get in there and wipe more than half of you off, that's like 3 mines that I have bested. And that's a problem. Again, I always go on about how it's not just about skill, it's about competence. And sometimes just having another person to like hang around the payload or the objective is all I really need. And it would shock you to see that sometimes I still can't even get that. Now, is that other people's fault? I don't like to put that on them. You know, I guess it's almost reached a point where it's like, might as well just play with these damn Randys. Rebecca says, I'll be on tonight if you want to play later, Cyael. Smiley face. Man, if only every smiley face was just like a topless Hannah. You know what I'm talking about? I'm kidding. Gotta stop saying stuff like that. Rebecca said, Rebecca? That's her new name because her last name starts with an L. So Rebecca says, I got into a car accident, so I've been dealing with the past couple of days. I'm sorry to hear, and I hope that you make a speedy recovery. These kinds of things are never anything anybody is prepared for or in the mood for, but at the same time, we should focus on the fact that we have made it through all right, and I'm glad that you're well. And hope that you continue to get better, and that maybe in some way you'll be able to bounce back in a capacity that almost has you glad that everything went the way that it did. Not that I'm glad that you got into a car accident or that you are either. Now this is what I'm talking about. Active lily pad movement action. You see what I'm saying? Okay, Hannah says stop saying that. Okay, fine, Hannah. I apologize. It'll be like a topless Rebecca. Jeez. The other night, I put something on my wish list, and Hannah said, you're just gonna piss people off. So I took it off. But I'll leave it to Hannah to tell you guys if she wants to tell you what it is that I put on the wish list. Because I did put something on there, and she was like, it's gonna piss people off. So I was like, fine, I'll take it off. Whatever. All Hail says, I'm going to message my friend who showed me the channel originally a couple of years ago. Hopefully he remembers what the channel's name is. To be honest, I wish there were just, I wish that were just like a category on YouTube, you know? Schizophrenic people. Should I market myself as the schizophrenic lemon or something, and then play video games and be like, yo guys, it's the schizophrenic. No, not here. You can't do that here. No. That's not funny. I talk to myself enough. Every streamer talks to himself enough. Every streamer is probably schizophrenic in a certain light, in a certain way. When you look at it like that, I guess we're all a little schizophrenic. Sorry, I was rubbing my eyeball just now. I hope that didn't make the microphone. Rebecca says, oh, I'm fine. It's just the car. Oh, God. Sorry. You guys want to know one of my biggest fears? It's getting an eyelash in the eye. Fuck me. It feels like a dagger in there, and like I'm going to lose the eyeball for real. And sometimes I make it worse, so I got to make a mad dash to the bathroom. Half blind. And like double half blind because I already wear glasses. It's a nightmare. Somebody said, confession, an ex who, after breaking up, god damn it, it got kicked off. Ugh. Coral, you're gonna need to start that from the beginning. Stripe said, ew, I heard that. What, the squishy noises from the eyeball? If you guys don't watch it, you're gonna get more. And then you're gonna realize that that's something you're scared of. Welcome to the 10th Confession Podcast, where you're learning things that you didn't know that you were scared of. Eyeball squishy, eyeball squishy, eyeball squishy. While we swim underwater, I'm scared of depths and I'm scared of heights. Scared of squishy noises, alright, in his eyeball. Cause this is Skyfall. That's enough. The chair place says, not going to lie, I had no idea you had a channel, but we've been friends for a while. You better not be talking about me. Who the fuck even are you? I'm kidding. Rebecca Lado says he was falsely accused of rape. Who was? Holy shit. Are you guys talking about Tobuscus? I don't know if he raped somebody or not. You know, who really did rape somebody? I was just reading about Tobuscus in a stream. No, in a list. Man, this music is so loud sometimes, I just feel like I'm not coming in over it. Oh, Coral says he was falsely accused of rape. Hannah, I'm sorry, the game volume just goes up sometimes during these portions, and there's genuinely nothing I can do about it, because you pause the game and it's like, you want to do things with the camera? And I'm like, no, I wanted some kind of sound options, and it's like, I don't know what those are. I don't know what sound options are. And it's true, the game doesn't know what sound options are, so here we are. I apologize, Hannah. Candy Stripe says you can't rape the willing. Another classic Stripes comment. It's my favorite. Fishy orgasm orgy time. Yeah, get in there. Wow, come on, fishes. Wow, get down in there. Come on in now, there to go, the digga digga. This is nuts. You have to wonder when fish do this underwater, are they having like a blast? They having a good time? You know? Rebecca says, I'm studying medicine and have shadowed. God damn it. Kyle Willard says, I'm afraid. What the fuck? I'm afraid Cyael will get a shit ton of subs from some really good video and comments and stream chat will be diluted by complete idiots. You say that like if it were gonna happen, it wouldn't have happened already. That's my favorite part. There's an active suppression of my content. And that's maybe the way that it should stay. What are these big googly-eyed fish doing out here? What's this game about? Googly-eyed fish, chair plays. Rebecca says, I saw a video on Reddit a while ago of some dude getting a hematoma cut off the top brain. Oh my god. And seeing the drill part of the skull off was... okay. Now that's scary, guys. Now that is scary. Swimming with the Fish is the video game. I have really got to get my shit together. What is the point of where I am right now? Let's figure that out together as we swim downward, Bowers. This is some sort of gate, the chain of which extends out, so we're probably gonna have to get out of the water again. Tizben says, yeah, I'm feeling like there are some girls out there that claim rape from sex that they regret. That's just plain wrong. It's not just sex they regret, guys. There's some girls who want to get physical with certain people, but let's just call them conflicted bitches, you know. So what they'll do is they'll get drunk as a way of, like, I want to say taking the choice out of it. So in the event that they want to be like, oh no, this wasn't what I wanted, they can just say that even though it pretty much was what they wanted. Girls are crazy. Candy Stripe says, like, they agree to sex, engage in sex, and then decide they don't want mid-through and don't tell the partner. So now this is rape. This is, you know what? This is actually rape. You know, actually, I'm getting raped right now. I can't believe it. Rebecca says, or sometimes I'll see videos of them squeezing out blood clots. I'll never be able to get red jello ever again. It just gets crazier and crazier. You guys are adorable. Part of me wants to just, like, unfold into Overwatch. But that wouldn't be fair, you know? Wait, it is fair. We've been streaming for like 2 hours. Jesus, bing bong crizzle crimes. I'm surprised this game even has more, you know? Am I swimming down into a galactic whirlpool now? Kyle Willard says, I once accidentally drugged someone by giving them Valium and vodka, and then they passed out like half an hour later. Wow. Hannah says, perfectly fair. What's perfectly fair, Hannah? All hail TMZ says, I found a video of the streamer guy who thinks he's God. Well, what's his name? Leave the name of the guy on a different video. And that's what's up. My stripes keep going in hand. Wait a minute. Am I at the end? Because this one's just in the center. Have I united all that there is to unite? Have I reached the bing bong conclusion? I feel like I have. I thought I became Shark, but maybe I've brought him back in spirit form. Yay, Shark. We thought you were villain, but really, you am best friend of me, Mimo, you now best friend time, Biba, Wemo, you friend Mimo, Shark, Finding Nemo. Candy Stripe says, not too hard. You might get a nosebleed. This is the end, isn't it? And then this is like an allegory for a sperm swimming into a... Am I breaching? Oh my god, I'm breaching! Did I do it? Is this it? Wow. 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 Oh my god. Come, Shaku. We must find glory. Fave says, I'm almost finished with my people suck and I hate society essay. Interesting. Candy Stripe says, pay Cyael to read it. Pay Cyael to read what? Rebecca says, in heaven, everything is Fibe. That sounds like a new app. You guys got that Fibe app? Shut up. Shut up, Corey. You gotta get that Fibe app. That's how you know you got to, it checks your fiber levels. So, yeah, you're feeling like you're not pooping as easy as you need to. You get the Fibe app and the Fibe's like, oh, you need to have more granola bars. Is there fiber in granola bars? I feel like Stripes would be the one to know this. Oh, guys. A friendly welcome to the Confession Podcast number 10. Today we're talking about fears. Pretty much everybody's fear was extremely logical. Some were cautious, and they had reason to be. Some were just fears of the unknown, which again makes plenty of sense. This is so cutie woots. Frostbitten Puppy says, hello. And here's to hoping that your puppy doesn't succumb to frostbite. As we transition into a very blue looking area. Rebecca says, I'm scared of never realizing my flaws and having them hinder my growth as a person. The first part of growing as a person is realizing that you have growing to do. You shouldn't focus so much on your flaws and focus more on growth. There'll always be flaws. This is tricky to get the angle to. Got it. Marina says, I'm really fucking scared of needles. I've done therapy, but goddamn. And I never found out how the fear originated. As long as you try your best to stay on top of that fear so it doesn't stay on top of you, you'll never lose control to it. The fishies. Wow. They're doing it multiple times. This is killer. You can see them breaching like multiple times. It's nuts. I enjoyed this ending. It's so interactive. A fear of freezing to death. Another fear of needles. I fear I'm to leave the shark behind for this portion. Sharky. Lunarlat says, I fear that one day I will get into an accident and would never be able to do art again. I like to think that unless they took the life from your body, that you'd never not be capable of art in some capacity. Because as long as you can express, you can manage artistic expression. Lady Spook says I'm terrified of birds, rightfully so. The creepy thing about birds is that, logically, you should only fear them in large numbers when they actually possess the capacity to get nuts, but to be honest, even one bird, if it knew just how much it could get away with, is terrifying enough on its own. I'm sorry so many of you are afraid of needles, though. They're not gonna get you. Seems I've completed the game. I'm controlling my little dude. On the little screen at the end. Hey, wait, there's a thing down there. Where the hell am I? Let go of that thing. Excuse me. Get this. Get it. Get it. Get it. You got it. Alright. Alright. Jump it. Candy Stripe says, this reminds me of a level in a PS2 Finding Nemo game from 2003, released by THQ, delivered with only a level of description that Captain Autism herself would be capable. I'm kidding. Love you, Strips. She remembered the year and the people who released that game. That's somebody who's read the title screen like 1-2 billion times. Marina Pandonia? What a made-up name. Have you watched the one movie with Hitchcock that features all killing machines? I'm guessing you guys are talking about birds, naturally. That's why it's so good a movie, because birds are horrifying, apparently. The White Wolfo says, what if the end of the credits, the shark just decides to eat you? I would only like it if there were really comical sharky eating noises, and then, you know, like the shark's just like, and then at the end he goes, gotcha, or some bullshit like that. Gotcha. That's comedy right there. But you spent like a couple of hours not hearing anybody say anything, and then somebody says gotcha after they kill you. Love robots. That's what you could say. Fly into the screen. Come here. Fly into the screen. No. The sharky does flippies too. Oh, that's so cool. Frostbitten Puppy says, does anyone get weirded out by ants? They're just ants, guys. It's funny the parallel that we were painting with ants before, because people were saying what they fear is knowing that their impact will ultimately be infinitesimal when you look at our place in the universe as a whole. Well, that was Abzu, guys. I kind of want to play some Overwatch right now, god damn it. Jeez. White Wolfo says, honestly, if that's how it ended, I would be satisfied. Faith F says, and the shark noises have to be obviously made by some underpaid intern. Or she would like it if they hit the record button before the guy even got in there, and it was just like an intercom going, beep. Hey, Mitch, get in here. Yeah, yes, what is it, sir? So I'm just gonna need you to talk into this microphone. I want you to just say, I want you to make some noises like you're just really eating something up, but super fast, you know what I mean? What? Just do it, Mitch. And then he's all like, oh, okay, and they're like, no, Mitch, way more animated here. Come on, gotta be over the top noises. And he's like, all right. And they're all like, damn it, Mitch, I really want to hear it. I want to hear some gobbling noises, Mitch. And Mitch is all like, and they're all like, almost there. You're at like a 2, but I need you at like a 10. And they get Mitch to go and all this crap. And then and at the end they go, okay, now say gotcha. And then Mitch is like, gotcha. And they're all like, no, more throaty, more like you're growling while you say it. And then Mitch is all like, gotcha. And that's what they use. And then he doesn't even get like put in the credits. Maybe he does get put in the credits. It just says shark voice some intern. And Mitch is like, oh, okay. Yeah, sounds like Cookie Monster for real. Wow. Guys, I'm gonna go play Overwatch. Wait, Stripe says stop. Why does she say stop? Does she have a fear of Cookie Monster? Why Cookie Monster say stop? Who knows what you guys are doing? Guys, I love you. I'm gonna go play Overwatch now. I could stream it, I guess. I don't know if anybody wants to see that. Hannah wants me to play with her, you know, and I could also get into a match with her as well, so that's cool. So I'll go do that, guys. If you want to see me play Overwatch, why not, you know? But don't expect it to be as entertaining as whatever this was. Thanks for joining me on the 10th Confession podcast. We'll see you next time on the virtual aquarium that is me not playing this game because it's totally done, but I'm going to play Overwatch right now, so check that stream out. See you in a couple of seconds, I guess. Bye.